after you have evaluated yourself in the situation, this is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me. And you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change.
Unbelievable start to this fight.
Gave it to a good job.
Vicious right hand. And the referee has already stopped the fight. Mamma mia! Matisse, oh, and fires off the right hand. Jose goes down. Mora has stopped the fight. Lucas Matisse has won. Oh, he knocks him down in the sweat with a beautiful right uppercut. Wow!
I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back.
We all know Fury, you just a phony, man. This is just for act. You know where I am, you know what time, you know what place. I ain't scared of nobody. I'll come in your backyard, baby, for that's my man.
Listen, anytime, any place, anywhere, I'll fight you in your backyard. Like a dumb Klitschko, I'll beat you, you bum. You're a bum.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another show. Thank you for tuning in to Jeremy Sports Network. Coming to you live. Today is a day. It's a bittersweet day because we have one of the legends of the game, and Mr. Wladimir Klitschko, who has been phenomenal as a champion in the sport of boxing, who retired on today. Now, I got this news early this morning. It was about 4 this morning when I got the news that Klitschko was set to retire. And, you know, I felt bad about it because the simple fact that I was looking forward to seeing Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko 2 at T-Mobile Arena, MGM Grand, wherever, in Vegas, November the 11th. We thought that was the set date. I was really looking forward to seeing that fight happen. And the fact that Klitschko retired, what did that mean for the sport? Not for the sport, but just for the fight with Joshua. I mean, was it because Klitschko felt as though he didn't have anything to prove after having an outstanding career, 2-time Olympic medalist? Not only that, but in 69 fights, you win 63, 50 plus fights with knockouts. He just had a phenomenal career, and he dominated the heavyweight division for almost 10 to 12 years. I want to say 10 years. He just dominated. And the fact that he did that, and the type of reign he had as a fighter, he's respected in the division. You've seen the respect come from fighters today in Deontay Wilder, paying his respects to Klitschko, even though those two have never fought each other. But we thought that fight may have happened down the road, but it did not. Not only him, but guys like Lennox Lewis, who paid his respects to Klitschko. Those are what stand out to me, is the fact that he's respected. And he's very well respected by this guy in Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua is a great guy. Very well respected in the game of boxing. The way he carried himself. The people in the UK love him. He's an icon. And he's a great world champion. But where does that leave Joshua right now? Joshua do have a mandatory in Pulev that I believe will be a great fight if that fight was to happen. Because Anthony Joshua, if he was to take on that fight with Pulev, that would be an awesome fight. Pulev being the WBA champion, putting himself in position to where he can perhaps capture every other title except for the WBC, who Deontay Wilder have in a division. It just sets up for a lot of things to happen in this heavyweight division. You got Deontay Wilder right now, who is getting ready to fight perhaps maybe a Luis Ortiz. And after the Luis Ortiz fight, we may get either a Deontay Wilder taking on Anthony Joshua or Pulev or whoever. Right now, the heavyweight division puts itself in a great place right now, even though Klitschko is removed from the division. I mean, you even have Dylan White that's right there. You still have a lot of credible heavyweights. Even Big Baby Miller, who is making a name for himself after his victory against Gerald Washington on this past Saturday on the Mikey Garcia versus Adrian Broner undercard. So you do have a lot of great fighters still in the heavyweight division, even though Klitschko removes himself from the division. Now, there is a question that I want to pose and put out there. Is the simple fact that if Klitschko never retired and him and Anthony Joshua fought for a second time, and let's just say Klitschko may have got that one, right? So it's one apiece. So we know we're going to get a super fight in a third fight, and which will probably be in the UK if these two were to meet up again and Klitschko was to win. But where does that put Anthony Joshua, right? Because everybody's saying Klitschko's old. That's got to be one of the main reasons why he's retiring. I mean, he's done it for a long period of time, and in the heavyweight division at that. And we know being in the heavyweight division, you're fighting bigger opponents. You're taking harder shots, and just the grind of what Klitschko has done up until this point in his career, and losing to Anthony Joshua in the fashion that he did, man. That uppercut that he took from Anthony Joshua was just devastating, right? But it sets up for a great, great fight if that was going to happen. And I mean, we know it would have set things off here in the States. We know they did 90K in Wembley. We know they're not going to touch nowhere near 90K here in the US. But if we was to get that fight, I think it would have done really great for the sport of boxing, especially for the heavyweight division, because it made so much noise. It made a whole lot of noise. And the fight just made sense. The fight made sense. It was a really good fight. Now, if Pulev and Anthony Joshua do fight, which is Anthony Joshua's mandatory, I'm really looking forward to seeing that fight happen. Because Pulev, he hasn't really been saying too much, but he has called Anthony Joshua out and told him that he doesn't have any excuses and that these two should fight. But if these two do match up and we do get Luis Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder, does the winner out of those two face each other next? I mean, Eddie Hearn could really be making a big, big time fight if Anthony Joshua was to come on top against Pulev, and if Deontay Wilder, our American heavyweight champion, the WBC green belt holder, was to get a victory against Luis Ortiz. That would set up a super fight with Wilder and Joshua. But then you do have, let's talk about it, because he's still relevant according to the WBC. Bermane Stiverne. Bermane Stiverne being the mandatory to Deontay Wilder after Deontay Wilder had already beat him. Bermane Stiverne is still the mandatory. He's going to take step aside money, hopefully, in this matchup with Luis Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder. Now, he's saying he don't want to take step aside money, but I believe he's going to take the step aside money in order for that fight to happen, because that is the fight that everybody wants to see. Don't nobody want to see Bermane Stiverne versus Deontay Wilder 2 after you already lost to Deontay Wilder unanimous decision. We don't want to see that again. We want to see something new in the sport. And that fight just did not make noise as if it was a Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko. Like everybody would have loved to see that fight happen again, that duel happen, take place again. But a Bermane Stiverne versus Deontay Wilder, hell no. Nobody wants to see that. So of course, Bermane needs to take the step aside money. And we need to get Pulev versus Anthony Joshua, Luis Ortiz versus Deontay Wilder. Now, I told you all on yesterday, Deontay Wilder has been, I don't want to call it trolling, but he has been talking a lot of noise on social media, stating his comeback to the ring. And I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait for it to happen. And I'm wishing that we get that fight with Luis Ortiz. Hopefully it's probably at the Barclays, or, I mean, if that fight is here and close to me in Alabama, that would be good as well. That would be really good as well. Deontay Wilder fighting in his hometown. That sets up for a good fight. But moving right along, I want to hop into this because it's been stirring up a lot of news today in the boxing realm, outside of Klitschko retiring, outside of everybody questioning what is Joshua going to do next. Is he going to fight Pulev or whatever? But we did a show last night on Mayweather versus McGregor. We seen these two talking trash on social media. We seen Conor kind of make a threat or a suggestion to Floyd Mayweather and perhaps what gloves they were going to fight in. And we heard Mayweather response talking about the 8-ounce gloves. Mayweather talking about let's fight in 8-ounce gloves, and he'll make whatever adjustments necessary for Conor McGregor. Now, Floyd did say that, and he took it to his social media, and he posted about it. And we talked about that last night. You can go and check that on last night's show. But today some news surfaced because we was talking about on last night, will we ever get some footage or intel of Conor and Paulie Malignaggi sparring, right? That's what we was talking about. And I told you all on last night, as far as the sparring footage itself, because somebody, if I'm correct, somebody has been saying that there's a picture that's out there, and it's supposedly Paulie Malignaggi being knocked down by McGregor. That's what they're saying. Now, is that Paulie that's down on the ground on that picture? I don't believe it is. I don't even have the picture for the show right now, but I do have it on my phone. But I felt as though it wasn't credible enough to post. Not at all, period. Because it wasn't on Conor's page. It wasn't on Paulie's page. But it was just a random photo that seemed as if it was McGregor sparring, perhaps Paulie Malignaggi. We can't see the face, but it's somebody sitting on their ass. And we don't know who it is for sure. I don't even know, because not only is it Paulie that is sparring with McGregor, there's also another guy that's sparring with McGregor as well. Now, I do have the audio clip of the interview that Paulie Malignaggi did on Today, where he talked about him sparring Conor on last night. And what he said in that interview with him sparring Conor, he talked about how dirty Conor was as a fighter. And the fact that Conor McGregor is very, very, dirty in ways that would piss somebody off. But Paulie said he came talking a lot of trash. He came in there with a chip on his shoulder. And we got to understand, Conor McGregor is fighting a guy who's been away from the ring since the month of March. Been retired, been working, been on the road with Showtime, doing shows, interviews, whatever. Like, Paulie is everywhere. Paulie put on a little weight, and he hasn't been in the boxing ring since he went back to spar with Conor McGregor. So Paulie is like a 2-time world champion who is not in shape, been away from the ring for about 4.5 months. What's this, March? 5 months. We'll say he's been out of the ring for 5 months, right? And you go and take on perhaps one of the best guys in UFC history and Conor McGregor, and you're sparring 12 rounds with him. Come on, that is not a 100% Paulie Malignaggi, a active boxer, professional boxer in Paulie Malignaggi. But Paulie can hold his own, and Paulie did just that in his interview. And Paulie talked about that exactly on what happened and took place in that interview. And he talked about that whole entire 12 rounds, the trash talking, everything like that, in reference to what took place on last night between him and McGregor. And I'm going to play that clip for you right here.
All right, so you're in Vegas, so maybe you want to talk about, what's going on there. You playing craps? What are you doing?
Yeah, we're no craps here. We had 12 rounds of sparring last night. It's good work, hard work, real hard work. Actually, 12 rounds. I actually wasn't too thrilled that they wanted me to go 12 rounds in 24 hours after getting off a cross-country flight, especially when I had worked all last week. So I wasn't thrilled at first. I kind of came in last night in the gym last night with a bit of a chip on my shoulder and talking a lot of shit. And honestly, the sparring got intense, got heated. We went 12 hard rounds. I think I made my point. I'll say that. I think I made my point last night. Like, don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to help. I'm here to do the best I can for you guys. Don't try to take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to make like you're running out a 2-time world champion out of your camp or whatnot. So I went in with a bit of a chip on my shoulder last night, and we definitely went 12 hard rounds.
And that's the kind of work. That's the kind of work he needs to get ready for this fight. I mean.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean.
And how do you feel? I mean, because obviously you're sore.
The 12 rounds with anybody will get you sore, right?
Yeah, but you retired in March, and now you're back. You probably didn't think when you retired that you'd be back in the ring sparring like this soon. So
yeah. And honestly, I questioned whether I could go 12 last night. I really liked the first 5 rounds with like back and forth action, and I was telling myself, man, I don't know if I'm like in shape enough to go 12 yet, But then we got to like round 6, and he started fading. So I started really trying to dig in there, And then I said, you know what, I'm not staying here. I got a point to make tonight. And I managed to last till about 12, but then 11 and 12, he came back and put it on me back. I kind of just totally gassed out in 11 and 12. So we returned the favors to each other, so to speak.
Oh, good. So
I think the point was made.
What's
there's a mutual respect there.
Good. And what's next for you out there? When you guys going again?
I don't know yet. I'll find out. Whenever they need me, if they're going to use me again this week, I'm sure maybe later in the week or whatnot. We'll see.
Are there any other
He spars every 2 days, but I don't think we want him sparring like that every 2 days. That'll
right. Is there any, are there any other sparring partners out there that you know?
Yeah. There's an amateur kid named Tiernan Bradley, who's a good amateur kid from Ireland, an international amateur fighter. There's Deshaun Johnson, who's a sort of journeyman professional fighter who's been in with a lot of guys and plays tough, great for sparring. And then there's 2 MMA guys that he kind of just throws on the end and smacks around. One's named Alder and one's named Franz. They're not really boxers, so
right.
They're okay with their stand-up. But a lot of times they just fill out rounds for him, and he'll throw them in on the end. But last night it was just me and him for 12 rounds, and it was good work, hard work.
Awesome. One other question for you. What are you doing with your downtime out in Vegas?
No, I'm just resting. I was out in the middle of nowhere in the house they rented for the sparring partners, so I'm not doing much. I think today I might go see like TMZ or something. TMZ's closed. I'm going to go meet with some of Hammond's people, team of boxing people here in Vegas. I might go have lunch with the team, just to fill out the time, because I don't know, it gets a little boring here, but I also don't want to go too crazy,
Right. When you back East Coast?
Probably not till after a fight. I think they want me to stay
Wow.
to a fight week, and then if I stay till fight week, I would have to just transfer over to the casino because I would work with Sky and with Showtime. So if they need me until fight week, then either fight week once I leave the camp, but he's not sparring fight week, obviously.
Right.
If I leave the camp, I would probably just head right to the casino. So.
All right, so we'll get Pete in here.
trip.
We'll get Pete in here, and we'll get you on the phone when it works for you.
Yeah, man, it sounds good. And it was definitely it's going to be a long month here in Vegas, but it'll be fun. It was fun last night. I gotta admit, a lot of shit talking last night in Sparring. I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder. He was a bit of a chip on his shoulder, but I think we both needed that. I think we came out of that last night with a lot more respect for each other. A lot more. I was really pissed off. They told me like in 12 rounds. I was really pissed off. I show up last night and Dana White's in the gym, runs over Tito's in the gym, they by the Gordon Ramsay. Like I felt like I got set up. You know what I'm saying? So I had a real chip on my shoulder last night. But I think we both came out last night with a bit more respect for each other.
So when you talk about Conor, Malignaggi, trash talking each other, talking about how Paulie had to come in with a chip on his shoulder because they felt as though they can run Paulie out of the gym, and they fighting a 2-time world champion who hasn't seen the ring professionally since his last fight, I believe, was with Sean Porter. Paulie has not been in the game as a pushover, right? Paulie is not a slouch. Paulie is not garbage. Paulie is very well respected in the sport of boxing. Very well respected. Everybody respects Paulie Malignaggi. Even myself respects Paulie because of what it is he brings to the boxing world. His analogies. He's very smart, very intelligent. He's a great analyst, and I love to hear Paulie go in detail about certain things in the sport of boxing because Paulie knows better than most people. Am I going to sit here and say that Paulie is going to show McGregor every single thing that Mayweather knows? Absolutely not. I mean, I did an interview today with Mr. Steve Forbes, 2 pound Steve Forbes, former IBF and USBA world champion. I did an interview with him today, and that footage will be released. We will have it on an upcoming show. But I did an interview with him, and we talked about MMA because he trains MMA fighters, and he also trains boxers, and he teach his MMA fighters who are learning jiu-jitsu. He teach them about how to box, but there's so many things that an MMA fighter can't do that a boxer can do. Now, I'm not going to go into strict detail because, that interview is a really, really good interview. It will be on the Boxing Voice. Make sure you follow the Boxing Voice as well. But I will have that interview up on the Boxing Voice. But he went into great detail as far as what an MMA fighter and a fighter to the magnitude of a boxer could do. And I asked him, I said straight up, I said, are there holes in MMA fighters that boxers can exploit? Like, are there big time holes that boxers can exploit? And he was like, there is. And so I'm thinking, oh man. And he was telling me in specifics of what it is that an MMA fighter does that a boxer can really, really exploit. So, because I asked him straight up, I was like, how do you feel about the Mayweather McGregor? And he told me, seriously, he was like, Mayweather is going to beat the brake shoes. He didn't say break shoes, but literally beat up Conor McGregor. Because there are so many angles, so many things that a boxer can do that MMA fighters don't know about. Right? Conor McGregor cannot learn every single thing in the sport of boxing and what has happened throughout Floyd Mayweather's whole entire career. He can't learn all of that in just a 8-week training camp, 10-week training camp. There's no way. Versus a guy who's been doing it on top for 20 plus years, there's no way. And the fact that Steve Forbes, who is very credible, sat right there and broke it down to the extent of what he did, to me, it raised a whole lot of questions for Conor McGregor. Now, we heard Paulie and what it is that Paulie said, and Paulie was mainly talking about he went to full 12 out of shape with Conor McGregor, and Conor couldn't get him out of there. Now, they were fighting and going at each other, but think about the skill set of Paulie Malignaggi. Is it somewhere near the same as Floyd Mayweather? Absolutely not. Paulie's skill set is nowhere near Floyd's. So just think about it. If he's keeping up with Conor McGregor and he's been out of the game and retired from the game, do you really feel and think that this man can keep up with Floyd Mayweather? Just be honest. Just be honest with yourselves, because you have a lot of people in the MMA world who are thinking Conor's going to destroy Floyd. It's a lot of people who don't like Floyd. It's a lot of people who hate Floyd. But everybody feels as though Conor has a chance. That is the reason why most people are going to tune into that fight. It's because they want to see Mayweather on his back. Is that going to happen? Absolutely not. I don't think so. But the glaring holes that are in an MMA fighter that a boxer can exploit, who is the one best person in particular who can exploit those things? And that's Floyd Money Mayweather. Floyd can exploit it. And that's very interesting to me. Now, that interview with Steve Forbes, like I said, it will be up. And we will broadcast it live on the show. But I just found that to be very interesting on what he said. But we're going to move right along. And it's one person in particular who has been, let's just say, she's captivated the world. And she looks to dominate in women's boxing. Now, do I believe she can be the next, do we say Layla Ali? Or do we say, who else? Ann Wolf type, who has knockout power, who is very strong, and who's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, Miss Clarissa Shields, right? Miss Clarissa Shields take on Nikki Alder tomorrow night, live on Showbox. This is the first time, because women boxing needs support. They need great support, big time support. This is the first time these two ladies right here will be headlining a card. And Clarissa Shields will be fighting in the MGM Grand in Detroit, Michigan, at home, fighting for the WBC and the IBF title. If you're Clarissa Shields right now, you got to be riding on a wave, right? This is about her third pro fight, and she's fighting for the WBC and the IBF, going up against Nikki Alder. It's going to be a great night of boxing. Women's boxing. And you have to support women's boxing. Now, it's one fighter in particular, and I don't want to throw anything out there as of yet because she do have a fight that's coming up. But this is who I would love to see Clarissa Shields, if she's victorious on tomorrow night, which I believe she will because I'm picking Clarissa Shields to beat Nikki Alder. If Clarissa Shields was to beat Nikki Alder and she goes up against, if not Christina Hammer, she takes on maybe Kaylee Reese, that would set up to be a really, really good fight. Because I believe Kaylee can really hold her own. She is a phenomenal fighter. Did an interview with her that I will be uploading on Jeremy Sports Network on YouTube. And we might as well broadcast it live on the show. But these two ladies are going at it tomorrow. And it's going to be a great fight for women's boxing. And I believe we should tune in because it may not go the distance. I believe Clarissa Shields, with the power that she has and the speed that she has, she's going to come out victorious. And it's going to be a lovely night of boxing on tomorrow, live on Showtime. Just tune in. Tune in. Make sure you get your popcorn ready. You sit down. You're going to get some great young professional men fighters making their way up in a pro boxing rankings. And you're going to get the main event in Clarissa Shields versus Nikki Alder. Now, personally, like I said, I'm looking for Clarissa to get this victory. But it's also, some other competition that's out there that I'm hoping she will face in the near future. Possibly after she get this title. But it is one reason that her and Kaylee did not fight is because the money. We know that they were offering Kaylee pennies compared to the dollars of what Clarissa Shields will be getting. And Kaylee would have to travel and be the B-side, even though she's a former world champion. But you're getting a person who has all the build-up in Clarissa Shields, who could possibly have the WBC Diamond and the WBC Gold World Championship and the IBF title. I mean, it's a lot riding on her right now. And do I believe she can hold her own? Absolutely. She's definitely going to do her job. And it just looks to be a fun evening of women's boxing, because we haven't had that in a long period of time, right? When has women boxing really been back on the forefront, headlining a Showtime card? Like, seriously, we have never, I can't even remember. I'm sitting here, I was trying to figure this out, like when we was trying to put the show together and we was talking about it, we was like, when was the last time a woman held a main event on a Showtime card? Like, when did we last have that? But the thing is, I can't even tell you. But we have that tomorrow. And it looks to be a great evening in boxing. If you guys want to tune in, I think you should tune in and pay attention to that. Now, moving right along, we have some big time amateur boxing going on in the state of Georgia, here in my hometown, Detroit. Since we just talked about a Detroit fighter and Clarissa Shields taking on Georgia in a big amateur showdown called the Showdown, held by Granite City Boxing. They're going to put together a fabulous event of amateur fighters here in the state of Georgia and in Michigan, coming together, and they're going to duel for this title. It's going to be an awesome event. Like I told you all, if you follow my personal account, I was live on Facebook and my guy P. Robinson had hit me up. Hey, everybody make sure you go and follow P. Robinson, and make sure you continue to follow me, because we're going to have some really good footage on these fighters, these young amateurs coming up in the state of Georgia that I know about personally. And we're definitely going to see what's going to be made up of these fighters that's in Detroit. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Detroit don't have any good fighters, but it remains to be seen on what they're going to do. Now, tickets start out at $25. It's going to start at 12 p.m. So that's October 7th, noontime, for $25 at the Cobb County Civic Center. Information has just been released for this event, and it's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. I believe it's going to make a lot of noise. And also, be looking out for Terry Moss, the boss, to be putting together another professional pro-am boxing card really, really soon. So these are the things that are taking place in the sport of boxing. We talked about Klitschko retiring. Not only did we talk about Klitschko retiring, but we talked about Paulie Malignaggi and what was going on with Paulie and Conor McGregor. And we also hit on Clarissa Shields taking on Nikki Alder on tomorrow. So it's going to be a full couple of months of boxing before the end of the year that's going to be taking place. So please make sure you tune in to Jeremy Sports Network. Make sure you follow me on Jeremy_sports on Twitter. You'll be able to see that interview with Steve Forbes very soon. Also follow me on Jeremy Sports Network on YouTube. And also follow me on The Boxing Voice as well. This is Jeremy Sports Network signing out. You guys make sure you have a wonderful evening. And I'll get back with you all on tomorrow. This is Jeremy Sports Network. I'm out. Peace.